Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8.52, and of course we are playing Britain here. So let's continue this. If we counterattack, it'll help them maybe. Oh, New Zealand shattered. We are taking a real pounding. Italy. And the Highlanders also shattered. Twin engine transport plane prototypes, alright. Let's go back up to here and on the Northumbrian. Okay, so finally we have them. They've shown up. Okay, well now, let's get some units that are in good shape, starting first. None of these shattered units. Well, that's about it for good units. We have the 100th Armored Division shattered. Where is that unit? Just disappear on me, or is it attached to different HQs? Don't know. Well, is it even on the board still? Maybe we lost it. No, I don't see it there, so maybe we did. Maybe it's up there. Well, that's a Canadian Corps. Well, we should get those right away. Oh, there it is. No, that's Northumbrian Division. There it is. Okay, so there it is. Attach them. Let's go and lose it. I think it's fine for units to shatter on the defensive, but sometimes in the past, I had units shatter on the attack. I would think that they would realistically, unless you're talking some die-hard kamikaze type units, I think mostly on the attack they'd lose organization well before they would shatter. So since these are units, whether they were those ultra weak French units, because we never built up strength backup for them, or even the better off units here that are dying of being, you know, having enough morale and organization to last longer and doing that on the defensive, I think that is much more realistic. Okay, amphibious invasion focus. Is it one of these? No. We're still researching that one? No. Oh, wait a minute, that's... I don't know what that one is right offhand. Well, we're not researching, so probably one of those one and dones that I'm just missing. Somewhere, okay, well. That jungle unit improving. Let's improve mountain division. Since we're fighting with some mountain divisions in the mountains, could be useful. Which one? High velocity gun increase. Well, that's nice. That'll help with the dealing with the armor. And this improved medium tank design because of it. Yes. Yeah, well, you're counterattacking. And we just lost another. THQs out of the front lines, they really shouldn't be there. I'm sort of kind of relying upon Monty there, but it looks like that Monty's about to go, so. Yeah, so let's get Monty out of the front line here. Engineer unit training has increased, that's good. And gun turrets on aircraft has advanced. Well, I don't know how much it helped in real life. Sure gave confidence to the crews, but defensive positions, okay. They wanted the flying fortress to be sort of that, a flying fortress in which put a bunch of them together in a formation. Aircraft flying in to attack it would just be shot up. No, you know, to the point that, not that they were invulnerable, I don't think they maybe thought to that level, but to just make it very costly for any fighters to come in and attack. You see, before World War II broke out, and this was already changing as the war broke out, but before, the general common philosophy was where bombers were meant to be fast. Germans called them Schnell bombers. No, extreme combat training. We do that. Wanted to be fast. Now, you got to realize they didn't have, well, radar was, you know, obviously just coming into being. The British were the only ones really with any practical radar on any scale at the start of the war. So normally, you know, yeah, systems were being developed, you know, early warning with observers and people with telephones or radios reporting. But still, generally speaking, bombers were faster than fighters. Fighters in World War I particularly were very maneuverable, and the interwar period with the you know, biplane design, which was still very common for fighters, they were generally slower. And even if they weren't slower than the bombers, with enough head start, it's hard to catch them. And so if you're on the ground and got to get up and, you know, take off and get up and get going, or even if you're already in the air because your early warning you know, system identified them in their general location. Now if you were like, you know, in front of them, you could of course get a pass on them, and so, you know, diving past through them doesn't necessarily mean all the bombers drop out of the sky. It means you get a pass through, and then you got to, you know, make a turn and then try to catch up, all the while they're going in a fairly straight line in speed. So, you know, reverse course and then catch up to them. It isn't necessarily with a, you know, it's just a marginally faster aircraft. You're going to be able to do it, you know, be able to dodge in and out and make multiple strikes on bomber formations, so that they were really looking at speed. Well, as you know, the early war was showing with, you know, Supermarines, they started out as seaplanes, but it was sort of common then. Fighters were getting, you know, monoplane wings, still maneuverable enough, and getting fast. The Messerschmitt 110 was designed to be an interceptor aircraft, in that it had 2 engines, single wing, and very fast, to be able to fly faster than the bombers, but not needing to or designed to be very maneuverable, so that they came in with heavy guns and shoot up the bombers. Well, you know, that was one solution, and various nations were exploring that as well. So the British, the Americans particularly, but looked on the idea of, okay, well, we still want big 4-engine bombers to penetrate deep into the enemy's heartland. Generally speaking, they had to go further than the British would have to go. So that, yes, speed's good, but they went for much more armor. And now that's not that they're, you know, making the fuselage thicker, but just sort of strategically point, you know, places with armor, you know, maybe armor up the pilot's seat and a few other places. And they were doing this on fighters too, you know, so a few strategic points that were armored, flak vests, which were really more just what they said, flak, which stands for what, Flieger Abwehr Cannon or something like that. I'm probably butchering it, but it's you know, shooting down aircraft. Guns is where it comes from. The Americans have, you know, converted it instead of an initials into just a word. But the idea is that shells come up and burst and put a lot of small, relatively fragments going in all directions, and those onto delicate airplanes start doing a lot of damage. Well, these flak vests were designed to either stop or mitigate, meaning you don't get as chewed up as bad, these light fragments, often after they were already sort of maybe slowed up a bit by going through the admittedly rather light fuselage. And so you know, either you get theoretically minor wounds or not wounded. And of course, not all the shells burst in small bits and pieces, so sometimes a big chunk would come whizzing through and, you know, just go in one side of the flak vest through the body and then out the other side of the flak vest. That can happen too. But as well, when proper heavy bullets are coming through, they would still go through a lot of those flak vests, and different models, different weights, and I'm not an expert on them, but that's sort of what they were designed. So they went to a heavier armored situation. Plus, the idea with the Fortress was just lots in for the Americans, particularly 50 calibers machine guns just everywhere to cover every field of fire. And then with multiples of the aircraft, and they experimented in different nations with different formations, did that so that the idea was to put too much fire on any attacking aircraft to make it too costly to come in. Well, humans just aren't that good at targeters to hit the aircraft well enough and effectively enough to bring it down in the brief time that it's coming in, even when it appears that it's coming straight at you. When it's out, say 1,000 yards or 500 yards or something, it's still a fairly small thing, and yes, it is coming at you, but you're moving in a direction, it's moving at you. And both things are not very steady, and your gun's jumping around, and so even, you know, trying to do and I'm not a very good deflection shooter myself, trying to do the deflection shooting based on all of that to try to hit that, it was difficult. Now I will say this, a lot of the, like particularly as we're talking about here, German aircraft were hit. I don't have any good stats on it, and I don't know if there is good stats on it, but a lot of them were hit, but they weren't necessarily hit in a critical way that shot them down or made them even difficult to repair once, you know, they landed. You know, oh yeah, we have a few bullet holes here, we patch that up and go, you know, if not the same day, the next day going back up again. So a lot of times the aircraft were hit, but not in such a way that would bring them down or make them overly costly to attack the incoming bomber. So the flying fortress thing didn't work out as well, so I don't know whether... Okay, now the other ones that showed, these are the faster ones, so maybe I should have waited. But that one's already to... yeah, to here. Those are the units that are in good shape. Okay, well, let's get some of the units that are in bad. Well, oh man, a lot of these are shattered units, aren't they? Yeah. I don't know. So my thoughts are is to send them back into well, I don't know that they're going to get repaired sitting on a ship. I think they won't. I don't know whether sending them in theater and then not having them in supply with the Americans there. I don't know whether it's better to send them into theater or not. But it did have an effect, shall we say, on the morale of the crew members, and that they were at least doing something, they were at least fighting back. And that was important. So, and of course, once things changed, once you got proper fighter escorts. What the hell? Why are these guys retreating? Why are my Canadians retreating? Okay, well, the hedgehogs on our escort vessels have improved. That's good, and we'll let that continue. Well, I think we're going to end the episode here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. Please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.